No problem at all. We got a packed house tonight. Good evening and welcome to the October 6, 2014 City Council meeting. We'll call it to order. And tonight we are lucky to have our school Pledge of Allegiance program back in action for this school year. And so tonight we have a couple kids from Richmond Elementary. We've got Kelly Daughtry and Luke Prentice. Come on up, guys, and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. How are you guys?
Good.
I appreciate you guys being here. Tell you what, how about, let's start, Kelly, let's start with you. Tell us, what grade are you in?
Fifth grade.
Fifth grade, and who's your teacher?
Miss Bellamy.
Miss Bellamy? Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And what's your favorite subject?
Science or reading?
Science or reading, very nice. And what do you like to do when you're not in school?
I'm on the swim team and I really like reading. I'm in the middle of the Maze Runner series, book 3, and it's really exciting.
That's good. That's real good. But my daughter's read those. She loved those books. That's great. And who brought you tonight, or did you drive yourself?
No, my mom, Jill Daughtry, brought me.
She brought you. Can you introduce her to us? Point her out to us. Hello. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Nope.
No, well, you did a great job. I appreciate it. And Luke.
Yeah?
Let's hear about you. Are you also in fifth grade?
Yeah.
And who's your teacher?
Mr. Justice.
Mr. Justice is your teacher. Very nice. And what do you like to study? What's your favorite subject?
Social studies and science.
Social studies and science. And what do you like to do outside of school?
I like to play soccer and ride my bike with my friends.
Wonderful. And read?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very nice. All right. And who brought you tonight?
My dad, Brent Prentice.
Your dad brought you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for getting them here. All right. So, council, you guys have any questions for them?
No, they really did a nice job, though.
All right, wonderful. All right. I appreciate it. Tell you what, I'm going to come down. I've got a little something for you guys. We're going to take a picture. White chocolate, all right. So, do you want white chocolate or what chocolate? Perfect. All right, where do you want? How about right here? I'm going to jump right in. All right, turn your hands up. Left hands. Okay, now we have a proclamation with our fire department. Chief, who else coming in? We have a special guest. Sparky, come on in. You guys want to come hang out, Sparky? Come on. Hey, Sparky. Thanks for being here. Got Luke and Kelly here to hang out with us. Okay, great. Why don't you guys stand about right here, and you guys can stand next to Sparky. Whereas home fires killed more than 2,300 people in the United States in 2012, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 65,000 home fires. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires in half, as 3 out of 5 home fire deaths result from fires in properties without working smoke alarms. And whereas Stillwater residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area and on every level of the home, including alert devices that meet the needs of people who are deaf or hard of hearing, and practice and develop a home fire escape plan. And whereas the message during Fire Prevention Week 2014 is working smoke alarms save lives, test yours every month, reminds us that we need working smoke alarms to protect us from harm. Now, therefore, I, John W. Bartley, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, do hereby proclaim the week of October 5th through 11th, 2014 as Fire Prevention Week in the city, and urge all citizens to test their smoke alarms at least every month and to support the many public activities and efforts of Stillwater's fire and emergency services. guys want to be in a picture, Sparky? Cool. Sure. Good job, Sparky.
Help me out.
Tell you what, most people think council meetings are stuffy. Can't imagine why they think that. Okay, now onto the stuffy. We're on to the consent docket, and we have items A through F on the consent docket. Does anybody wish to remove any items from the consent docket?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion on the consent docket?
I make a motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. And that is approved 5-0. And that's going to take us down to public hearings. And we do have a public hearing this evening to receive public comment regarding a closing of a portion of East Fifth Avenue. Mr. Dorman, do we obtain good notice?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Dennison.
Good evening. Paula Dennison with Development Services have a closing request before you this evening. This is a portion of Fifth Avenue. That piece is located between Perkins Road and Dryden, which curves around and then picks up as Fifth Avenue again. It's the area that is hatched and highlighted in yellow. A couple of things about this. You see only a portion of the property of the right-of-way is even developed. The rest of it is undeveloped. And there is utilities that are located. The blue is water, the red electric, and the green cutting across is sewer. There are some findings. Again, portion of it is constructed in street. The utilities are located in the area that is requested to be closed. As part of the vacation, once it goes to district court after it's closed here by the city council, necessary easement can be reserved for those existing utilities as well as any planned utilities due to any relocation as part of the Perkins and Highway 51 transportation project that is coming in the future. So we will ask the reservation for existing and planned utilities for easements. Any questions on this at this time?
Do you know if this Fifth Street, was it part of a plat or was it separately dedicated?
I do not. I don't have the legal description here in front of me, and I did not print out the ordinance.
It was dedicated in pieces. The western half was dedicated as a separate dedication. I'm not sure about the farthest part of the far eastern part, I think, was part of a plat.
Okay.
That's south of the Sonic on Perkins and almost 6th Street, correct?
Yes, this building right here is the Perkins Sonic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Dennison?
No, stop.
Thank you. Okay, we will open up our public hearing, and we do have one request to speak. Greg Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Greg Hughes. Do I need to state my address?
Please.
9818 Anderson Circle in Glencoe, Oklahoma. And currently I'm the owner of Kinnanen Sales and Rental. Ray Kinnanen owns the property on which our business sits today. And you don't have that, I don't have that drawing. It's down here. Can I click that back up or not?
It's back up.
Oh, can you guys see it? Oh man, you guys are good. Okay, so right now we own the two buildings just to the east of that black asphalt drive. Right here. We own these two facilities. And with the 2016 widening of Highway 51, they're going to basically eliminate all of the parking that we have in front of our 2 retail outlets. By doing so, that's going to eliminate those 2 retail businesses because we have nowhere to park our customers. So also, by increasing the number of lanes, any traffic coming west from, say, Perkins or downtown, trying to turn into either of those locations as they head east will be virtually impossible because the number of lanes with the turning lanes and then the traffic that already backs up. Trying to get traffic turned into our business that way will be virtually impossible. And then anybody coming out of those locations, if they were to come into this service center where we do all of our repairs, if they come out here, trying to turn back east, as you can imagine, is almost impossible. So what you've done by widening 6th Street and eliminating the parking in front of both of our buildings, we've turned those into warehouses and eliminating jobs that are currently in place. By allowing us to keep 5th Street open, it's been blocked today, so we're not able to access it because it wasn't paved. Having the option, we would pay for the paving to the east to our property line, and that would allow us to get customers out and in our businesses through 5th Street off of Perkins Road. That at least keeps our options open to keep customers coming into our business. As it stands now, with you taking out parking in front of our businesses and eliminating 5th Street, we have no way to get traffic in and out. So again, we would be willing to pave the portion of 5th Street back to the city spec, 6-inch paving, 4,000 PSI concrete, to the end of our property line. Also, by doing that, I think everybody would agree, by trying to get people out on 6th Street from our 2 businesses there as it stands right now and not allowing 5th Street to open, there's a safety concern there of trying to get people out. There's a lot of blind spots with that many lanes of traffic. So virtually, if you allow 5th Street to close and don't allow us to pave that and then get traffic out the back, you're killing 2 businesses and people that have jobs in the area today. The last thing that I have to say is the property that's highlighted in green back here has supposedly been sold, and there's going to be a retirement center back there. If you close that, their only access would be a residential street, which is Dryden. That's a lot of traffic, and that's not too user-friendly either. Last thing I'd like to say is we do have semi-traffic with the number of items that we sell now. We get a lot of semi-traffic in that area. By allowing them to go out 5th Street and onto Perkins, that keeps us semi-trucks off of Dryden and going back to their residential area, which is our only option at this point. So I would ask that we keep 5th Street open from a safety concern and from a business that employs people as we speak and has for the last 6 to 7 years.
Does you own the 2 your business is in the 2 buildings there?
Yes, sir.
Does the building on the east, does it adjoin Dryden?
Yes, it's right here. Yeah, it joins Dryden.
Is that parking in the back? Is that not
Of
parking?
this part-
On that,
this
no,
deal?
that second building. I'm
This
sorry.
one? This
one
one?
more over.
This one?
Yeah, is that not parking there or?
No, that's not parking.
Okay.
That only is about 15 feet deep.
Oh, okay.
So there's no way to get traffic, and there's no way to get back. So if a car pulled in, if they had 2 in there, you couldn't back out.
Okay, and then what's that other lot?
The other lot is where we put all of our lawn mowers and all of our extra parking, or extra products. All of our lawn mowers and everything else that sits out here. Our proposal was to create a opening here and an opening here, so traffic could come from Perkins Road and enter through here and park in this area and then back out this way. As it stands today, they have to come in here, go around this building, turn around, and come right back out. That's where the danger part hits, is trying to cross these streets and go back. And the key is for retail, if you can't get them in and out in a safe manner and easy, they won't do business with you.
You said you've already converted them to warehouses just for that reason.
No, we have not. I said you will be converting them to warehouses.
We'll be converting
Yes,
them.
if you, well,
I don't
ODOT,
understand you.
I don't mean that in an aggressive way. The ODOT's taken all of our parking away in the front. Both of them are retail stores. If you take the retail parking out of it, They're just a warehouse. There's nowhere for customers to park.
Do customers come in the back way on Fifth Street right now?
There's no way to get in. They block that. Right now, there's a blockade set.
How long has that been blocked?
Mr. Galloway, you may know that, I don't. A couple of years? No, it's been longer
It's
than
been
that.
several years. The paving ends there, and it would be, it's a safety factor. It's not paved beyond there. We did this so people wouldn't drive off the end of the road.
So it's been a number of years it's been closed. And we would allow, I mean, this never really came up until the widening of Sixth Street caused us to lose all of the parking in front of our businesses. At that point, we can't park a car in front of our business. And there's no way to get them out onto Sixth Street with the widening of all the road.
Might be splitting hairs just a little bit, but when you say ODOT is taking away your parking, there was a negotiation and you were compensated along with the other property owners. That's correct.
That's correct. Yep. But that still doesn't get our traffic out of our gates. Yeah.
How many people do you employ?
Total, we employ 38 in that business, both sides of the street.
In both of those buildings? And both of those buildings are in use right now?
That's right.
Is there any way?
38, ma'am, 38 total in Kennenan. Those two buildings employ about 12 people.
You also have a building across the street?
Yeah, on the north and south side, yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm just a little struggling still a little bit about Dryden cannot be used as an access road, but Fifth Street can. What's the difference other than
Well-
one's on Perkins and one's on Sixth?
Just to get it back, you'd be taking a lot of commercial traffic on Dryden and Fifth Street. Semi-trucks,
That little section there as you turn off Sixth.
this piece.
I'm thinking of that right there, and I'm hanging a left and going towards the back of your property.
Because traffic, even today, if you've been there, if you've seen it very often, is backed up all the way to here. At any given time during noon hour, rush traffic, any time during the day, the traffic is back up to the barber shop.
Which is why the ODOT is wanting to improve that
Absolutely,
intersection.
completely agree. But by doing that, you're eliminating me being able to get traffic back out and keeping business flowing where it would be so easy for us. This is already a street. I don't understand why the need to close it. Actually, I do know why, but I don't understand why we would need to close that if we're willing to pave to the city specifications this street and reopen that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Hughes? All right.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
very much for your time.
That was the only request that we had to speak, so we'll close the public hearing. Ms. Dennison?
Staff has reviewed and evaluated. We recommend approving the closing with an approximate 20-foot wide utility easement being reserved through the vacation process. I would like to, and Mr. Dorman can jump in and assist. When a right-of-way is closed by the city council, it can be reopened at any time. The city retains the rights of ownership and the reopening of that has been closed by the council. Once it gets to district court and is vacated, the city releases the rights that we have. We cannot go back in and reopen what has been closed. And the property is then, depending on how it was conveyed to the city, the property sometimes, more often than not, goes back to the adjacent property owners. So if the property owners wanted to construct a commercial driveway across what would then become their property, that would be an alternative to the city keeping and maintaining Fifth Avenue.
Say that again, please.
Yeah.
Once the vacation goes through, to vacate the right-of-way, after it's closed here, right-of-way is then goes to district court to be vacated. depending on how it was conveyed to the city, the property could go back to the adjacent property owners. At that time, they would be able to construct a commercial driveway
Right.
across their properties that could function similarly to how Fifth Avenue could if it were extended, and especially if it went on through to Dryden.
Do we know if that property owner would allow them to use it for a driveway?
That would be an arrangement between the private property owners. We have private access easements filed all over Stillwater, where owners have gotten together to each other's benefit to allow access across their adjacent properties.
Is that, I don't drive on that Dryden much. That's Dryden, correct, Paula? Right there and curving?
Yes, and curves
That
around.
handle semis, commercial traffic? I mean, I guess I'm just a little confused why that couldn't be used if we were to close the Fifth Street. Is that not?
We have not taken templates,
Okay.
vehicle size templates or anything to the curvature out there. It is an existing city street, and all of these properties that front on Sixth Avenue are commercial. This used to be the Wonder Bread store, and the vehicles, the deliveries would not pull up in front for their deliveries because that's where their customers were parking. They would utilize Dryden coming off of Sixth Avenue and either park alongside, sometimes around back if they were the only ones. Anything bigger than that, semis, I would have to defer to Dr. Peak for an investigation.
Okay.
Well, and going off that question, it's one of those, whatever is going to be used for deliveries would have to be using Dryden or the existing 6th Street entrances now,
Currently, correct.
since 5th Street does not extend through
Correct.
currently.
That is correct.
But the,
I have one more question for the,
but I grasp the statement of losing the parking in front. That seems to be the change of condition, not truck access.
Yes.
that's exactly right. Well, I just had a question for the person that was speaking on the item.
You want Mr. Hughes to come back up?
If you don't mind.
Yeah, Mr. Hughes, would you?
Just to be clear on what you asked of us. Yes, sir. You are saying that you want us to deny this and that you would offer to put up the money to extend Fifth Street across the back of your property.
That's exactly right.
Would it remain a city street and the city would then have to maintain it in perpetuity? Or are you saying you maintain it in
We would
perpetuity?
maintain it.
Then what's the difference between you and the other property owners working that out?
We've attempted that.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
We've attempted that.
Okay.
And I guess my question, if I can ask a question, it's already a city street, and it's been a city street for a long time. What's the purpose of closing it today?
Maintenance. Those are lane miles that are not used by the citizens per se. It's really a commercial access
I understand.
than it is a road.
Right.
And I think the exact solution is you and the other property owners getting together and figuring out how to put a commercial drive through there to access the back of your properties. More than it's the city's responsibility to put that commercial drive in for you, or you put it in and we help you maintain it. That doesn't make sense to me.
We would maintain it, but I understand your question.
I appreciate what you, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Should have thought of that first.
No. Jeff, you had a look.
No, that was my question.
Okay.
The difference between doing it as Mr. Hughes has suggested and closing it.
And let me just make sure I understand. If we close it, anyone can go to district court and obtain it. We're not doing this for a specific person, correct?
Legal?
We're closing it for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
It's been closed forever. It's never been open. That business has never taken access off of Fifth Street. And the one business that had taken access off of it had actually had an easement to use that property prior to the city obtaining it via dedication. So that's the only access that's ever been taken off of it. And so I think as the Vice Mayor points out, it's really, you're talking about a commercial access point, and that's something that the parties can work out. If you close it, you're just closing it. If they want to vacate it, they can go vacate it if they want to. If not, then it just remains closed. And you can always reopen it if you choose to do so.
I tell you what, I want to float something to you guys, and we can vote it or not, but from what I've learned tonight, it seems like, and I agree with the Vice Mayor, this ought to be, let the private parties figure it out since they're the ones that are utilizing and benefiting from it. I don't know which type of action wouldn't put one of the parties in a better, appreciably stronger position over the other. And so what I would possibly let's talk about is if we were to table or continue this for our next meeting's the 20th.
Yes, sir.
Until then, and that gives the parties a deadline to get something worked out. And I have no clue how the five of us would be voting on this. So I don't know what the outcome will be on a straight up vote on this. But to tell the parties that, yeah, we learned some interesting things tonight on use and how could it go. And I think both parties ought to be seriously working on a mutually beneficial agreement between them and not leave this decision wholly in the hands of a straight up vote on a closure.
I agree.
Does that kind of concept make sense?
It's better for individuals to settle it than government to have to settle it for you.
I would think it could possibly be in their best interest because the cost of a commercial access road built to standards is different than the cost of a city street built to standards. It would be less costly, far less costly to the businesses to develop private drives, so to speak. So I think that might be good to give it some time, let them see if they can do it.
I mean, I don't want this strung out, but I think kind of a one last bite at the apple, try and get something done on a mutually agreeable time frame or mutually agreeable standard, as opposed to our very cut and dry yes no type of answer.
I have no objection to it, but I mean, I'm also okay with voting. So I think that Councilor Weaver brought up a good point about that the fact that all the property owners, not just this one, were compensated for the loss of their use. And to my understanding, it's a negotiation and it's something you agree upon, if I'm correct in that. And so, but I'm completely fine with waiting because I also don't want to put Mr. Hughes out. If there's something they can agree upon, I definitely want to give him time to do that. So I'm fine with whatever, but I think we should keep those things in mind.
How about a motion to continue till our next regular council meeting?
Would be continue or table,
Continue until October 20th.
As he said.
as he said.
Second motion.
And we have a motion and a second to continue this item to October 20th meeting. And that is approved 5-0. Okay, I have to pull my agenda back up. All right. That takes us down to ordinances, and our first ordinance is ordinance 3280. Mr. Dorman.
An ordinance amending the Stillwater City Code by amending Chapter 31 Municipal Court, Article 1 in general by amending Section 31-19, arrests for non-traffic violations, citations, promise to appear, etc.
All right, Mr. Dorman, the title of that sounds very scary, but my reading of it is a very simple change from a court date can now be 30 days as opposed to 20 days from the citation?
Yes, it's part of the, they're moving towards the handheld electronic units, and because of the processing things that are involved, it takes some additional time to do this. Well, the court clerk has requested that we add 10 days to this, to the current 20-day period.
Did I just hear technology is making it
Make
take
it
longer?
take
Is that what I just heard?
Well, I don't want to get into.
Okay.
But nothing's changing about our city ordinances or what?
No, substantively, other than we're adding 10 days to this time to appear is what we're talking about.
Okay. So the scariness sounding of the title is,
No, and I don't exactly know how et cetera got in there, but it will be stricken before the second reading.
thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Dorman on ordinance 3280? Is there a motion on ordinance 3280?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 3280. That's approved 5-0. Now we have ordinance 3281.
An ordinance rezoning attractive land located at 1615 West 12th Avenue from A Agricultural District and RSS Residential Small Lot Single Family District to O Office District.
Any questions on 3281? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve 3281.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 3281. That's approved 5-0. And our last ordinance of the evening,
We ask that
328.
you continue that one. This ordinance is actually part of the.
Oh, I guess it is.
on Public hearing, so I would ask.
I'll
vote on it.
Withdraw
You want to
that.
vote on that one? All right, we will not consider 3282. That'd be, I got to read ahead on my ordinance there.
Now you're on it.
All right, that's going to take us down to reports from officers and boards. Mr. Dorman.
Request an executive session pursuant to 25 OS subsection 307B4 for the purpose of confidential communication with the city attorney regarding pending workers' compensation claim of Lisa K. Morrell. It is my opinion that public disclosure of this matter will seriously impair the ability of the city council to prosecute or defend this pending litigation or proceeding in the public interest. Second, request an executive session pursuant to 25 OS subsection 307B2 to discuss labor negotiations with Fraternal Order of Police Lodge number 102.
Anything else?
That's all I have tonight, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Galloway.
Nothing additional to add this evening?
Okay, counselors, you guys have anything?
I would like to take time to welcome my fellow leadership class 23.
Oh my God, they're all here.
We're still working on that. Welcome all them to the meeting tonight.
Did they say?
Leadership Stillwater class 23. There we go. And you guys are what class
Oh,
are you?
now they're just lying to us.
No. That is completely accurate. So welcome and thank you guys for being here.
Seriously, the best class ever?
We didn't come up with it either.
I'm about to make a motion.
There was a lot of better ones thrown out. You're gonna strike that?
Well, yeah, in the minutes, let's strike that part of it. It's, okay, well, welcome, Leadership Stillwater, class, whatever number you are. All right, anything else from any other counselors?
No.
Okay, also like to welcome, I believe we have a journalism class here.
School of Media and Strategic.
I'm sorry, it's no longer journalism.
What's your guys' saying?
Best class ever. Is it the best class ever? We had professors in the room. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Well, I want to congratulate Stillwater High School. Had a great homecoming, except for the second half of the football game, but the rest of it went very well. And another successful, fairly uneventful OSU home football game. So congratulations on another great weekend here in Stillwater. Okay. Anything for upcoming meetings? Okay. We do have appointments for Rural Water Advisory Board. I would nominate Norman Durham. Do I have to do these together, or can I do them?
You can do them together.
I can do them together. I'd like to nominate Norman Durham and Ken McKinley.
Second.
All right. We have a nomination and a second. And that is approved 5-0. Okay. We need to recess City Council because we have those executive sessions.
Or we could adjourn.
We got to recess, and we will call to order the Stillwater Utility Authority's meeting. And there are items A through F on the Utility Authorities meeting. Somebody wish to remove anything from the consent docket?
Motion to approve.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Gotta get there.
Sorry, Gina.
Is item D still there?
Yes. Just remove item D.
I would like to remove item D.
Okay. Item D is removed from the consent docket. Anything else to be removed from the consent docket? Is there a motion to approve the consent docket less item D?
Yes.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the consent docket less item D. And that's approved 5-0. Okay, and that'll take us down to number 4, which is taking up items taken from the consent docket. Item D.
Mr. Blankenship, do you want to address that, please? Mr. Mills?
Good evening, Bill Millis, Acting Water Utilities Director.
All right.
You want me to explain, or you
Say,
have
Trustee Noble, what, do you have a specific question, or?
Well, I did have a question. I had a couple of questions. Get to it. That's not it. There we go. Okay, so if you could just explain to me, I just needed more clarification. It seems that we are going to have to pay more money for something that wasn't our fault. That is in a nutshell. Is that?
the construction contract has gone on longer than anticipated, and so there's more expenses incurred for providing the inspection services from Myers Engineering. So yes, that's right. There are also, along with, as part of the contract running over, the contract included the provision for liquidated damages. And so we anticipate that there will be sufficient liquidated damages to cover the additional expenses incurred by the additional inspection.
So we have to get it inspected, but we weren't able to get it inspected when we were supposed to, and that puts us about $40,000.
Well, it's not that we weren't able to perform the inspection, but that the contract was not complete on time, and so it's taking longer than anticipated, which means we're having to pay an inspector to be on site for longer than anticipated.
And whose fault was it that it was not completed on time?
Well, we execute the contract with a construction contractor and lay out the terms of the contract, which includes a completion date, and they did not meet the completion date. So since the completion date passed I think in June, or maybe it was July, and still ongoing, liquidated damages are being incurred, which means a monetary, I won't call it a penalty because I don't know technically what the term should be, but it's withheld a certain number of dollars every day that they're not complete. And it's not finalized until the contract is completed and closed out. But that's exactly why that money is withheld, is because of the additional expenses that the city has to incur because the job took longer than expected.
So the city isn't out more money than that, those fees pay for what?
Correct. The liquidated damages currently exceed the amount of additional inspection costs that we expect to incur, and we believe at the end of the project they will. It's not finished till the project's closed out, but we anticipate that we will not be out extra money for inspection.
Those were my questions. Thank you.
Okay?
And yes,
I appreciate.
does that need further clarification?
The liquidated damages will not be determined until the contract is closed out. It is entirely possible that part of the delays will be found to be justified, in which case that sum would not cover the entire amount. So we don't know exactly what that number is going to be at this time.
And we believe, as I was saying, we anticipate that we can show justification that it exceeds that 40,000. But at this point, I cannot guarantee that. And Mr. Dorman and Oregon staff, it will be debatable at the close of the contract, and we will make our best efforts to prove and demonstrate that it was liquidated damages are due us for this. But the downside of not knowing that till later, the balance of the contract has to be completed, and we certainly want to make sure that it is inspected. So it would be in our best interest to pay the $40,000, have it inspected, and then we will, I won't say fight, we will negotiate over the amount of liquidated damages as we close out the project. But again, we have strong beliefs that we will exceed liquidated damages exceeding this amount.
I might add also, if I could, that the $40,000 is a conservative estimate, and we don't anticipate that it'll cost that much to finish out the project. We just wanted to make sure and request enough to make sure that we do finish it out and not have to come back later.
But we won't be, I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
We won't be inspecting it until the project is complete.
No, we will
Oh, it's
inspect it.
Ongoing
it's
inspection.
Ongoing during
inspection.
construction,
Yes.
yes.
Assuming you approve this.
And we haven't started the ongoing yet, or
We have been
been
inspecting since the beginning of the project.
Okay.
What we're asking for is additional money so that we can continue until the project is complete.
The firm doing the inspection has used up all their initial contract, and we need to keep them on board.
I had a discussion with Mr. Blankenship and Mr. Galloway earlier about this item, and I think the good news for me was that going forward, there'll be new emphasis on defining progress and stronger teeth in our contracts, perhaps.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate your explanation. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Questions answered?
Answer.
Have we ever, I mean, is it customary ever to put the inspection services on the contractor as a matter of the contract, and they pay for those inspection services as they go? Or do we feel like there's an advantage to us paying them?
Generally, the inspection service is done separately because basically that's our representative.
Understand.
They're essentially, I won't call them project managers, but they fulfill a role not unlike that.
But they could certainly be our representative, and the bill's just paid by the contractor. Have we ever considered that or thought about it? Just an idea.
It'd be something to look at. I mean, as I say, the difference in who's paying the initial cost, I mean, I can see that just get worked into the overall contract price.
Yeah, we have, at least I have in the past, considered that as making that their responsibility. When you get in, there's pros and cons to both sides.
Depends on the project, type of work, I know all that.
And so it's, traditionally, and I think it's probably most common that the owner contracts directly with the inspector, because the inspector is kind of an extension of the owner's staffers representing the owner, and it's less convoluted if they're getting their money and their direction from us. There's no issues with the contractor, but if they're getting their money from the contractor and the direction from us, sometimes they may feel torn. So,
Not if they're professionals.
not if they're professionals, but unfortunately, not everybody's a professional.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
It's unfortunate that we have to do this, but we would be crazy not to be good doing the ongoing inspection.
We got to keep inspecting. There's no doubt about it.
Second.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Was that D? Item D from the consent docket. And that's approved 5-0. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn SUA?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn SUA.
Oh,
I voted for you.
There we go. That's approved 5-0. SUA is adjourned. And we will call to order the Stillwater Economic Development Authority meeting for October 6, 2014. Only item on this agenda is general order request.
Okay, Stillwater Perkins LLC is the company that we've entered the development agreement with for the development at Lakeview and Perkins for our TIF district. This item is simply to assign any payments for the development agreement to a bank of their choice, which is Arvast Bank, and this is to verify that. It's part of their financing document, typical. Instead of writing any rebate payments to OK Perkins LLC, they will actually be sent to the bank directly.
Does this change anything from our perspective, how much?
No, does not
when?
change one penny of the agreement.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion is second to approve this item. That's approved 5-0. Is there a motion to adjourn CEDA?
Make a motion to adjourn CETA.
Second.
That's approved 5-0. CEDA is adjourned. We'll reconvene the city council meeting. And is there a motion to move into executive session for the two items listed on the agenda?
Yes, motion to move into executive session for 2 items.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I'm going to do that one of these times, just to be irritable.
That's approved 5-0. All right.
I always think Joe's gonna put no.
One of these days, I'm gonna.